Okay guys, so we have another engine to do a top end on, which is an SH18. So let's get into that. So here's a piston sleeve we got right there. So most of these, well, I'm not sure about the new ones. I bought this engine a long time ago. They have the ABN or ABL plated, nickel plated sleeve in them. And well, they don't last very long. And that piston sleeve there, I showed you guys, get that off A Main Hobby in the States for, I think like 20 bucks US or something like that, 22 bucks. And I'll show you how to change it out here. I actually robbed the piston sleeve out of this engine for Richard's, what do you call it? There's Rustler. Now I try to keep my camera angle right so I don't piss off somebody as much as I did last time, because my hand was slightly in the way of one of the videos where I was removing a piston and sleeve, and the guy that commented I thought was going to have a mental breakdown. All cap locks, yelling and screaming like I freaking murdered a puppy or something. That's one of them type, the underwear comes pre-knotted from factory. Holy fuck, man, calm down. Go take an Ativan or something. Jesus. Couldn't imagine being that uptight. You must be fun at parties. Flipping out like that. Fucking clown. Anyway. So, there we go. Head button. There's the head shim, or head gasket, whatever you want to call it. And let's see. Well, how do we remove the piston and sleeve, people? Remember, that guy had a flip out. Here, I'll do it again just for you if you're still watching. Fucking freak. So, sometimes you can get your finger in there and pull on it. Or, if I have a zap strap somewhere, I don't. Or I might have one. God, it's a freaking disaster area in here. I haven't cleaned my area in a long time. Just had a lot of other things in the go. So you could take something like a chopstick, or a skewer, whatever, zip tie, stick it through the exhaust port, and just rotate the flywheel. Oops, didn't work. And it'll lift the sleeve. Then you can get under it and pull on it. Sometimes you have to heat the block up with a heat gun. I don't have one. I usually use a little propane torch. If you don't feel comfortable using a torch, use a heat gun. They're literally 20 bucks. Okay, so next we're going to look at the connecting rod. And we're going to note what direction it goes, because you can put them in wrong and it will never run. Now, there's an easy way to do this. I know which way it goes, but just to show you guys, so you can take a pin and put a little scratch. See the scratch? A little witness mark on there. That won't hurt anything at all. You can put a little witness mark on there, and that way you can remember what way it went back together, because it's easy to forget. There's a lot of guys out there with the 3.3s and 2.5s what will put the piston and sleeve in back, where the piston in backwards, and pull their hair out trying to understand why the hell it won't want to run. I see it happen all the time. It's no big deal. Shit happens. I've done it before. I actually did that on a rebuild not that long ago for a guy. I wasn't paying attention. I was in the middle of a conversation with a fella and got to yammering on about certain topics, and we put it together and couldn't figure out why in the hell it was spitting fuel out the freaking intake or out the carb, and it was driving me nuts and wouldn't want to run right. It happens. And I thought, oh, dunderheaded mistake. Okay, we need some oil. This is just I think it's Mobil 1 530 synthetic is what's in there. You can use your favorite I'm going to give it a little bit of a cleanup here. You can use your favorite 2-stroke oil, synthetic or whatever you want to use. Going to take a little electrical contact cleaner there. It doesn't have to be contact cleaner, but a little brake clean will do you. Just kind of give that a little bit of a wipe out. Oh, the paper towel guy's going to have a fucking meltdown. Idiot. Absolute buffoon and a half. There's another one whose underwear come pre-knotted. Oh my god, if you touch that crankshaft with a paper towel, you're going to ruin it. Oh yeah? Air filters and oil filters in big heavy-duty equipment are made from what? Yeah, exactly. Fuck's sakes, man. Pull your head out of your ass. Alright, so we're going to look at our piston here. Here's the problem with it. May not look like it, but this piston sleeve is actually really wore out. It goes basically all the way to the top, and it'll run until it's hot. It'll run just fine. You fire it up, it'll sit there and idle all day long. You put a load on it, dies out, loses compression. So this piston sleeve, although it looks nice, is roached. So we got a new one right here. So this is actually a 3-port. These SH engines are pretty good. They're the same as Dynamite, which makes these engines here, these Losi engines, which sadly are no longer made. But they're actually a real 3-port. If you look in there, you can see 1, 2, and 3. And then there's the exhaust port, which is that one right there. You guys like my fingernails? You fucking weirdos. I don't know what it is, people, man. They have these weird fetishes, or, you know, they have the obsessive need to point out the obvious. Like, people go, oh, you should do this, or, you know, how come this looks like that? It's like, you honestly think I haven't noticed? Like, holy crap, pull your head out of your ass. Fine set of needle nose. These are Craftsman's. Oops. There's the part number. 32410. I'm going to carefully take that clip out, rolling it like that. Actually, what we're going to do, so you guys can see better, is we're going to put down a hunk of paper towel here, so that way it's not so dark on screen. You guys can see the clip right there. We're going to take our new piston sleeve, or new piston rather, put that over here. Obviously, we know which one is used and which one's new. If you can't figure that out, you're probably stunned. And we're going to need to push. This has got a captured wrist pin, so it only has one clip. So we're going to look at it, we're going to line it up so we know the groove side right here on the connecting rod faces the skirt side. Like that. See that groove right here? That's going to face the side where the skirt's been cut out. Because remember, the long side, where we made that scratch, this side, groove side, this side. You guys get the idea. You take and push. Make sure my hand's not in the way now. Don't want to offend anybody. Push out that wrist pin. Clean that up a little bit first before we put that back on there. These SH engines are actually really nicely made. If you look at the piston, they're actually CNC'd. All machined really nice. They're not shabby for how much you pay for them. Paper towel. Just going to clean up that wrist pin a little bit. Or connecting rod, rather. Some people say, well, you over-oil your engines way too much. Well, I mean, I get it that the oil obviously has fuel in it, like dirt. But, you know, it does take a minute. Probably not a minute, but it does take a little bit of time for that fuel to kind of splash around in there. So what I'm doing is just taking and just kind of cleaning up any of that varnish. And where's that pin that I had? Here's another thing you guys should look for. Take a pin and run it through the oil passages on the connecting rod. See that? Right there. Run a pin through them. Try that again. Reason being, have another beer. Reason being is because oil has to pass through these holes here. That reminds me of something. Anyways. And there's one on the top. Yeah, like I said, oil has to run in there into those little passages there. So you want to make sure they're clean of any kind of shit or anything that's might be lurking. Like I said, just give everything a little bit of a cleanup. This engine's actually only been run a few times. This engine actually was in my T-Max. You guys might have seen that video a while ago. Actually, AmpUTRC. He really likes that video. Go check him out. He's on their great channel. Same with, like I said, JP's RC. He's actually the guy that sent me that Losi buggy. And you guys see on the video the other day, which is going to be a startup video shortly here. Right. So, another thing to note about wrist pins, this is important, is this is capped on one side. See it? It's plugged on that side, open on that side. So the open side goes towards the clip side, which is this open skirt side. So make sure when you, like, if you're rebuilding, say, 3.3s or 2.5s or any engine for that fact, look at the wrist pin, right? And if you have, like, poor eyesight or something, just run something through there, right? And if it's capped and it's open on one side and it only has one clip, that open side always goes towards whatever side the clip is on. That's very important, because if you put it this way, you won't be able to get the clip in or out. It's like that for a reason. This pin doesn't look bad. You can't feel anything with your thumbnail. It's just discoloration. If you can feel like heavy grooving or the chrome is all bad on it, then I'd be worried about it, but I can't feel anything here, so it's fine. We're just going to reuse that. So what we're going to do is over oil the shit out of this, just to piss off absolutely everyone. So put some oil there, put some on that connecting rod. Make sure, like I said, that groove is facing that cutout side. That's important, because if you put your connecting rod in backwards, you might wind up with some issues. Remember, this side that's closed goes in first, so our open side is facing towards the clip. Like that. See it? That's the closed side, that's the open side. Another really good guide to watch that does a lot of stuff like this is A2RC, like capital A, and then obviously the number 2, then RC. He's got a great channel. Go check him out. Adam, he's an awesome dude. So go freaking twist his ear a little bit. Give the guy some fucking respect, please. Don't be an idiot going over there. Speaking of idiots, I am not going to take video requests of buying something that costs $200 just to make a video for one person. So for crying out loud, please stop asking. I'm not going to do it. Oh, you should buy this engine and run it in your T-Max. Well, I mean, sure, I'd do that if you want to pay for the engine. Things are expensive here. Right, where are we at? Okay, let's get that clip in there. So like I said, a good pair of pliers. I found these ones to actually be the best ones. These are actually starting to get kind of wore out. Or jet pliers of the same description like this. You want to grab it by the middle. It's hard to see, I know. It's freaking hard for me to see too. It's because it's so tiny. I'm trying to do this by looking through the screen at the same time. So you want to try to grab that through the center. Carefully, without distorting that clip. These pliers, like I said, are pretty worn. Just a little bit right there. Then you're going to start and roll the inside where it kind of goes up like an E. On the inside, you're going to try and roll that in first. It helps if you have longer fingernails like I do. And that's why I grow my thumbnails long, is because they keep chipping and falling apart from slamming them and things. So I'm going to try and go that side and try to roll that in. Now you hold your thumbnail there at the same time. Do you hear it? Click. See? It's in there. It's not that hard. Now, I have mentioned this before in the past, where when these clips fuck off on you, it's a big pain in the ass. All of a sudden they go ting and they fly away and you'll never find it again. I have found one before, actually. I was vacuuming my carpet one day and happened to notice the sunshine was pointing on my carpet in the correct area, and I found one of those clips I lost, thankfully. And then what you want to do is, or hold on, what I was getting at here, ADD kicked in there for a minute, is get yourself a big Glad Ziploc bag, right? Like one of the big ones with no writing on it, even from the dollar store, the cheapest ones possible. You can fit both your hands in there. Get your pliers, put down a piece of paper towel so you can see what you're doing, right, to make it easy. And then do all your work inside of a big Ziploc bag. That way, if your clip does decide to piece out on you, it'll hit the inside of the bag and fall down so you don't lose it. Because oftentimes, you go to the hobby shop, they won't carry those, and they'll make you buy a new rod or something to get one. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the back end of the skewer here, and just lightly, we're not trying to distort the clip, just push on it a little bit. From one side, the captured side, push that way too, and that ensures the clip isn't sitting over too far one side, because sometimes they'll go in, but instead of the clip sitting in its groove, right? Like say here's a groove and the clip's going to sit inside of it, it might be sitting slightly over to one side. So it could be just sitting there and it could fall out and take out your engine. You don't want that. Or it could be sitting kind of cockeyed. Sometimes they'll click, they'll go in, but always push from one side. You don't need to push really hard, but just a little bit. Oh, fuck, that thing's falling apart. But just lightly, just to make sure that clip is completely seated in there. If you have yourself a little flashlight, I know the LED will kind of mess with the camera. You can look in there and observe it. That might be hard to see. Oops, where the fuck are we here? Well, you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. The camera doesn't like that too much. But you guys get the idea. So that's what you want. It doesn't matter what position that clip's in, whether the tang is up or down or left or right, doesn't matter. Sometimes they spin because these engines spin and vibrate so bloody much. Sometimes that clip can actually spin in there. That does happen. Okay, what do we need? Need to clean up that. Like I said, you don't have to use electrical contact cleaner. Non-chlorinated brake parts cleaner or carb cleaner is absolutely fine, because sometimes they put like a factory coating on here, like a, what do you call it, a rust inhibitor, although aluminum doesn't rust, but like an anti-corrosion or something, like maybe like an alkyd or something. But sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Oh boy, look at that. Freaking paper towel boy is probably sitting behind his computer in his mom's basement, just fucking losing it. Yeah, so like I said, with these engines, this is the upgrade. I mean, it already had one in there. Someone already did it before me. But usually these will have a sleeve in there that is all silver looking. And I made a video about the difference between ABN, ABL, ABC, all that shit. And the whole sleeve will be all silver, just like the inside, right? And those, like I said, it's the same material. It's brass, but it's nickel plated, and it's softer, and it wears out a lot faster. So what you're going to do in that case, if you do have like an old OS 21 VG or 30 VG or something like that, or old ABN engines like the OS 12 and 15 CVs and whatever, is I know a lot of people don't like running the high oil content fuels because they don't perform that good in those engines. But what you can do is buy a fuel at, say, 8% oil content, say 20% nitro, 8% oil, or 9 or whatever, and then buy yourself some Blendzall castor oil. Try not to use food grade too much because it does get really sticky. I mean, if you got nothing else and that's all you can get, then, you know, just deal with it. But bump it up from, say, 8% to like 13. It'll still run and tune good. It'll still perform really good. And you have the benefits of the castor oil, which will help with piston seal and everything else, as well as keeping that soft nickel plating happy. Also, a lot of those older engines, like I'd mentioned, don't have oil grooves machined into the piston like this right here. See that? Those oil grooves, those are important. It acts like kind of almost like a piston ring. It's not, but it acts like that. Similar anyways. So this engine actually did have new bearings put in it. It's actually got a Traxxas flywheel and adapter nut on here, as well as a slide carb. It sounds like something else. Anyway, moving on. We're going to put another dab of oil up in there. We're going to put some in that pin there. Put some on the piston. So remember, these are the highest stress parts of an engine, especially when they're new. I'm going to put some on the outside of the sleeve. I know a lot of people always ask, well, why do you put oil on the outside? Well, it aids in the sleeve going in, because sometimes they can be really tight. Sometimes I've had engines, even some Italian engines, where the fitment between this sleeve and the block is so tight you have to warm up the block to get the sleeve in or out. That's just the way they are. Also, polishing the outside of your sleeve does jack shit. Won't help anything. If you interrupt the fitment between your sleeve and your block, you can have blow-by issues and all sorts of other shit happen. So don't do that. It's not necessary. Polishing your sleeve doesn't do shit for you. All right, so we get our piston. We know that the direction from our witness mark that we left there before faces towards the back. That cutout side faces towards the front, the carburetor side of the engine. So what we're going to do is roll our crank somewhere near top dead center, right about there where that pin's located. Drop our piston down there. Grab our pliers. Grab the side of the rod, not through the center. Grab the side of it. Let's see if I can show you here. Kind of like that. Right? So you don't want to freaking start marring up that bushing in there, because that's just not what you want to do. These pliers are getting wore out, so they're kind of hard to use. The grip surface isn't that good on them anymore. You just got to aim that up. Kind of like that. And push that down over. And usually you just got to kind of wiggle it a little bit until you get it to drop on. See, just like that. And then there's our witness mark right there. So we got our new sleeve. We know this is the exhaust port, a big one. There's obviously a locator pin here, so you can't put it in wrong. Because some old engines, like if you have an HPI, say a 15 FE, they have the exhaust port, you have to look through the port in the block and then line up the sleeve, because if you don't, there's no locator pin on those engines, and you can put the sleeve in 180 degrees out and it won't run. Actually, this one went together nice and easy. So with a piston, sometimes it'll sit sideways and you have to reach down and kind of push on it with your finger until it seats itself in the sleeve. And there we go. And some people might go, oh, why is it tight around the top? It feels like it has compression without the cylinder head. It's clicking like that. What do I do? That's normal. These cylinders, sleeves, whatever you want to call them, liners, are tapered at the top. They're like this. They're not perfectly all the way symmetrical, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously they're cylindrical, but they're tapered at the top. And eventually when that taper starts to go away is when you start to lose compression. When it heats up, it'll lose compression, all that shit. So it's a little bit different than your ring type 2-strokes, what most people are used to working on dirt bikes and such. So these engines also have the internal one-way bearing. It's a good idea to take some Q-tips and some carb clean in there and clean these out once in a while, because sometimes those little rollers get stuck and you pull on it, it skips and it won't always want to turn the engine over. Here's a trick for you too. We look at our starter shaft. Sometimes, focus you idiot, there you go. Sometimes you'll get glazed spots on here because there's a hell of a lot of force here. So take yourself a little 1000 grit sandpaper, right? Not much. And just, that's it. Just a little bit, just to break that glaze on there. We're not trying to reduce the diameter, we're just trying to take that polish off of it. See that? Those polished areas are now gone. That was it. That's all you needed to do. Take and make sure that's nice and clean. You don't need to oil this. There's already enough oil inside the engine when it starts up or when you put it together. Then we got to line up our tabs. Put the piston at bottom dead center. Like that. And then usually if you can grab it and it wants to turn the engine at the same time, good shit. Sometimes you got to turn it, you'll hear it go click, and then it'll lock down and be ready to go for you. Now, everyone's favorite time, we're going to put screws in together. Yay! Just to drive everyone completely fucking nuts. Uh-oh, my hand's in the way. Man, I thought that guy needed a hug, man. Like, holy. I mean, yeah, sure, it's kind of hard to work on shit and stare into the phone at the same time. Oops, it happens, but, you know, if you're going to have a mental breakdown in the comment section, just fuck off and watch another video of someone else's channel. There's lots of them out there. You know what I mean? Just, I don't care. Constructive criticism is fine and all, but, I mean, come on, don't be a fucking, you know, a man-child or a baby or whatever. There's no need to act like that. Everything will be just fine, I promise. Take and just kind of clean up that surface a little bit. Sometimes you can have shit in here. It'll keep it from sealing. It'll always leak. So you just take your paper towel, completely ruin it by doing this. Remember that, paper towels destroy engines apparently, so if you leave it inside the engine, obviously it's a bad thing, but people use towels to clean engines and rebuild them every single day. Like that. Actually, I think A2RC actually just recently did an SH18. Pretty sure. Like I said, go over and give that guy a sub. Like I said, go check out JP's RC. Amputee RC is another great channel. Old Woogie Nitro there, he's a cool dude as well. Handful of them out there. These also are a directional cylinder head, depending on what way this engine's going to be sitting in the car. So we know that the exhaust port's going to be facing towards the rear of the vehicle. So if you look at the cylinder head, you can see that slot through the center of it, this way. So you want that slot lined up in the direction of airflow. See how it's not there, but it's there? So yeah, you want that lined up in the direction of airflow. Or the direction of motion, whatever the hell. You know what I mean. The direction the vehicle travels in. Forward. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of these cylinder heads are actually airflow directional. For a reason. You're not tightening each one down by itself. You tighten them until you feel it just start to snug, and then you back it off. And then what you do is you run them down little bit by little bit, evenly. Because if you don't, the cylinder head does not want to seal sometimes. Click. And click. And click. And click. Factory torque specifications. And there we go. Rebuilt that connecting rod. The reason why I reused it is because it was basically in perfect condition. There was no slop or play of any kind in it. And we're going to throw our exhaust manifold back on there so we don't lose it. If you guys feel like watching that, right on. If you don't, well then click off the video. It's up to you. Pretty sure, well, I should say most of you have minds out there. That seems to be lacking in today's society. The old brain box just ain't what it used to be. So old Peg and Leg would say there from Zip Ties and Bias Splice, stunned. That guy's fucking awesome. If you guys haven't watched his videos, they're pretty unreal. Pretty bizarre. Click. And click. Also, if you guys have a Dynamite 19 and you have a rotary carb off one of these engines here, you can stick it on your Dynamite 19 if you want a rotary action instead of a slide. And by rotary, I mean like this. See, that's a rotary carb, right? And that's a slide. So you guys can do that if you didn't know. Also, all the starter parts out of an SH18 fit the Dynamite 19 to get rid of that stupid fucking problem they have. I have two Dynamite 19s. What I can't use, well I could, with destroyed back plates and starter shafts, and since they don't sell any parts of that engine anywhere that I have found anywhere on the internet, if you need parts, carburetors, etc., backplate, starter shafts, flywheels, all that kind of crap, you have to go and buy everything for an SH18. Backplate, starter shaft, starter, one-way bearing, pull starter, and or carburetor. So anyways, hopefully that helps some of you guys out that have never rebuilt an SH18, or go and check out A2RC because he just did one. And you guys get the idea there. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. And keep on burning nitro out there. There will be another start video. Well, there's going to be a start video of that low C XXX NT sometime today. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. And happy Monday.